The Valley of the Word serves as both the headquarters and spiritual home of the Synod of Strategic Prophecy. Its location remains one of the most closely guarded secrets in all of Christendom. A hidden temple nestled deep within a remote European gorge, where the very stones help to amplify the echo of God's words. Some say this sacred valley was the first place on earth where creation began. Whatever the truth, it is a place that makes men tremble and humbles all who enter. Within its bounds, one feels like the weight of an intense gaze that pierces all shadows and falsehoods. A pressure that reveals your innermost thoughts and exposes the deepest recesses of the soul. Few can withstand walking these hallowed grounds without bowing their heads in submission. But above all, the valley is the only place on earth where one can learn the superhuman skills of the observers, the warrior monks of the order. It is the sole source of tacticians of the Synod who allow communion with the Council of Saints. It is no wonder then that for those who find the valley without permission to enter, the cost is steep, a lifetime of servitude as a lay brother or sister. These unwilling initiates, alongside willing volunteers, compose the army of servants and menial labourers known as receptors. Their brains are partially replaced with receivers attuned to the Word of God, transmitted from the powerful arrays atop the Temple of the Word. The floor of the valley itself forms the cloister of the temple, a vast expanse covered with arrays of dishes, antennae, radio telescopes and listening posts, all straining towards the heavens to communicate with God. Here, the supplicants of the Synod send their prayers, pleas, and questions into the firmament, listening intently for an answer back. The cryptic messages they receive are processed through great difference engines, designed by the Synod's ordained engineers, then translated, analysed, and studied by scholar monks from the many monasteries. Each monastery specializes in their own area, ranging from subjects such as the woman clothed in sun, the great beast, or interpreting the sounds of angelic trumpets. The Synod's agents tirelessly scour sanitariums and asylums, searching for those who claim to hear the words of the Almighty. It is a thankless task, as fewer than 1 in 10,000 that undergo the test have the true gift. The rest are prisoners of their own delusions, mere charlatans, or those whose minds have been broken by the horrors of the Great War. Rarer still are the children who hear the word with clarity. The Synod seeks them out at the earliest age possible so they can become tacticians. Younger children with the gift hear the divine counsel far more clearly than even the most well-trained adult observers, and become the Synod's most valued assets. The valley is home to all manner of workshops and foundries which produce the armaments of the observers. The most important of these is the Kale Factory, where the wondrous Oculus helmets are created out of pure orichalcum, each one a unique masterpiece of engineering and craftsmanship. Since no two souls experience the voice of God the same way, every Oculus helmet is custom-made, attuned to its wearer's unique spiritual resonance. These helmets allow the warrior monks and nuns to extract righteous guidance from a divine narrative spanning from the dawn of creation to the present moment and into the distant future. Scattered across the valley floor are hundreds of monastic cells, each one home to an observer, a highly trained warrior monk of the Synod. They live their lives in secluded devotional space with the most minimalistic of furnishings or decorations, so nothing can disturb their concentration. Specially constructed walls block all external interference, radiation, light waves, even the slightest and faintest sounds are eliminated, so that nothing disrupts their communion with the voice. The observers emerge only twice a day for simple meals, and each day, save on Sabbath when they fast, they train for 6 hours in martial combat. One day is devoted to the practice of using the resonance of their Oculus helmets, allowing them to use the voice of God to command any being in creation, if only for a fleeting moment. The rest of their lives are devoted to meditation upon the Word of God, locked away in their living tombs that know no sound. They only leave the temple for the most critical missions when the Synod elders have received divine guidance, whether reinforcing a collapsing front in New Antioch or eliminating heretic assassins who have infiltrated the heartlands of Christendom. At the very heart of the valley, surrounded by the cells of the observers, stands the Gate of God, a colossal steepled tower that serves as the conduit for receiving the holy words. Yet the great central tower remains incomplete. For generations, the Synod's finest minds have experimented with countless different arrays and variants of the sacred geometry, trying to construct the perfect receptor, one that will receive the voice of God with absolute clarity. The tower is circled day and night by processions of the Arks of the Signal. The bearers of these arks, which are fashioned after the Ark of the Covenant and integrated with sophisticated radio arrays, are permanently connected to them with synaptic cables and chemical tubes. They labour ceaselessly to locate the optimal position of the ark they bear on each given day, so that the Synod can capture the most elusive words of God, beyond the reach of the main arrays of the tower. Each year, the Gate of God rises higher, its maze-like network of antennae, loudspeakers, and receptors emitting a hymn of every language ever spoken, echoing through the Valley of the Word as the Synod tries to tap directly into the words of creation. Despite generations of labour, the General Secretariat of the Synod remains unsatisfied. The lay brothers toil endlessly, seeking to hear the Creator's voice with no interference. Beneath the central tower, deep within the valley's bedrock, dwell the prophetic tacticians, the most precious assets of the Synod. These gifted children are surgically, genetically, and chemically altered to make them perfectly suited to their role. They are equipped with strange and esoteric equipment that allows them to hear the word of God. Their seclusion is even more extreme than those of the observers, and the strain on their bodies and minds is far more severe. They are implanted with devices that allow their very being to reverberate with the voice of God, and they can be connected to the machinery of the Synod. The younger they are when their training begins, the better, the stronger their connection, for the closer they are to innocence, the easier it is for them to hear the divine words. Some chambers, even deeper within the tower's foundations, are guarded by a cadre of watchers, the most elite warriors of the temple crowned by horns of light. What lies behind these doors remains a mystery, but some claim to have seen alchemists of the Iron Sultanate passing through, and whispers persist of monstrous wailing echoing from behind their 100-ton vault doors. If there is any truth to these rumours, none can say, but they can only add to the awe-inspiring reputation of the Synod. In recent years, the War Cardinal has voiced criticism of the Synod, likening their tower to the hubristic act of Babel. Some claim his objections are less theological than they are political, for the Synod is becoming an independent army outside the control of the princes of the Church. But for now, this schism remains a war of words, rather than a war of swords.